Everything they teach us in the Christian church is a lie.
Right.
And like I was showing my sister earlier, everything they teach us in the Christian church is meant to put us in the bottom. It's meant to keep us from finding out who we are.
Right.
Because guess what? According to the Bible, we are the Israelites.
Right.
That is who we are.
Right.
You are not African, my sister.
Right.
You're not African American. You're not black. Black
Right.
is the color of your pants.
Like, come on.
Right? All these titles were put on us once they stole us.
We on the way, guys, the coast called a play. I don't do this for the fame. I put in the work, got a name. I'm working hard every day. I can put that on my.
Hey Israel, what's going on? You watching and still haven't subscribed yet? Come on Israel, hit the button.
Give me Deuteronomy 28 verse 48. Watch this. Deuteronomy 28 verse 48. Because you will think that Christianity will show us the truth according to the Bible. Right? But let me ask you this. Do you think those who put us in these conditions will tell us the truth about who we are that will put us above them?
No.
Okay. You already answered your question. Read that.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 48.
Now watch this. Watch this. Sis, listen up. Listen up. So listen up. Remember, like I said, right? Because you want to know how to get close to God. And you were asking me about others. And I said, what? It starts with you. Don't worry about anyone else. Right? Because once you learn, guess what? Once you learn and you start to apply, you teach by what? By your example.
That's right.
You hear that? You teach others by your example. Now, the fact that you're hearing this, and after this, you go on your way and you decide to do what you want to do, guess what? The Lord will hold you responsible.
Right.
Not only for you, but for the rest. Because you could have taught them by your example, but you chose not to.
Right.
Right? Because your question was, why did the Christian church not show us this? Read that.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 verse 48.
Uh-huh.
Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies.
Because we chose not to obey our Heavenly Father, He said we will do what?
Shall serve thine enemies.
You see that? Who did this to us?
The enemy.
Who? What race of people is that?
Caucasian.
Caucasians. And God called them what?
The enemy.
Our enemies. You hear that, my sister? My sister in a wheelchair. Oh yeah, go ahead and stand up. Go ahead and stand up. God called them our enemies, right? But you notice, you see a lot of interracial marriage amongst us. Why is that?
Because it started with them messing with us.
Okay, so now that they quote unquote set us free, even though we were not free, why do we still run to them to marry them?
Bring it out.
You see that? That's the problem with our people, and that's why we're still living a curse.
Teach.
That's one of our issues, right? Finish that out.
Which the Lord shall send against thee.
Which who?
Which the Lord shall send against thee.
So who sent them against us? Like we just read.
The enemy.
Who sent the enemies against us? Read that part again. Listen up, sis. Read that part again.
Which the Lord shall send against thee.
Right?
Right.
In other words, those who did it to us, they are our whooping stick. That's the whooping stick of the Lord against us. Right? Why? Why did He allow them? We just went over it.
I'm like, I don't. It says.
Are you? Or my sister?
They did it, but they're not cursed.
Why did the Lord send them against us? Why did the Lord send them to put us in slavery? Why? Why, my sister?
To punish us because we ain't listening and obeying.
But why they not get punished?
You hear that?
They raped us, they did all that. So
their time will come. Their time will come, but now worry about yourself. Because guess what, my sister? What you're saying is the same thing as, okay, let's say you punish your children, your kids, and they're asking, well, why are they being punished?
And I tell them, because
Okay.
you should have never known, dude.
Right, and that's what we're doing. Read that real quick.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 48.
This is why they told us Sunday. This is why they told us that you are Gentile. This is why they told us the laws don't matter. This is why they told us color doesn't matter. This is why they gave us a white image of Christ.
That's right.
This is why, read.
Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee.
The Lord sent our enemies against us to put us in slavery for breaking his commandments, for disobeying him. Read.
In hunger,
In hunger. You listening, sis? The Lord sent them to take us in slavery, and we will have to serve them in hunger. Meaning what? When you want to buy food, when you go grocery shopping, where do you go?
To one of their stores.
One of their stores.
Well, I don't shop at there no more. They got a black-owned grocery store here.
Okay.
in Ohio.
But who supplies? Where do they get
Them.
the money? Them. Right? You have to go to them for food.
Yes.
Right? Read.
and in thirst.
And in thirst. Sis, when you don't pay your water bill, what happens?
They cut it off.
Who? They or us?
They.
Them. We have to rely on them for food and for drinks. Read.
And in nakedness.
Clothing. Our clothing is made where? Made in China, made in Afghanistan, right? Even if it was made by your people, who supplies the material? Them, right? Read.
And in want of all things.
Driver's license, education, religion. You understand? You understand now?
This is why I'm having a religious trauma crisis now.
Exactly. Exactly. Remember, sis, once you know better, you do better.
Right.
Because you came up here, you say you want to get close to God, right? And I told you what? To get close to Him, you have to let go a lot of things, right? Read that part again.
And in want of all things. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck.
He shall do what?
And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck.
One more time.
And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck.
Read on.
Until he have destroyed thee.
So my sister, he said our enemies would put a yoke of iron on our necks until we are destroyed. Now we believe we're what? Baptist, Catholic, right? Pentecostal, right? That's why in those different Christian denominations, they tell us every lie. Why? To keep us from finding out who we are.
That's right.
You understand that, my sister? These churches are meant to keep us destroyed.
That's right.
That's why they lie to us. She's right here, sis. You understand that, my sister? They are meant to keep us destroyed. For example, let me ask you, what are people about to celebrate tomorrow?
They're Easter.
Easter, right? Is that in the Bible?
Yeah, I think so.
You think so? Oh, you don't think so, right? Because guess what? I was born and raised in a Christian church too, right? But how come they teach Easter for like hundreds of years, but they never show it to us in the Bible?
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Give me watch this, watch this. Give me color. Yeah, start with that. Colossians 2 and 8. Watch this, my sister. Read.
This is the book of Colossians, chapter 2 and verse 8. Beware lest any man spoil you through.
He says, beware lest any man spoil. My brother, how are you doing? I'm good. What's your name?
Andre.
Do you celebrate Easter?
I celebrate it with my son, but I don't personally.
Okay. Oh, come on close, my bro. Come on. That's all right. So, what is Easter about?
Resurrection of Christ, ain't it?
Resurrection of Christ, right? That's what they say.
Yeah, that's
right?
what they say, yeah.
Now, like I asked my sister, have they ever shown you that Easter is the resurrection of Christ in the Bible?
No.
You know why not?
Because it didn't happen.
Because Easter has nothing to do with Christ.
That's right.
Easter has nothing to do with Christ. Eggs have nothing to do with rabbits.
Right.
All those things were what? Man-made religion.
That's right.
Man-made doctrine. It's not in the Bible. But our people are about to go crazy about Easter. Right? Because you probably grew up celebrating Easter, right? You too, my sister, right?
Yeah.
Now watch this, read.
Colossians chapter 2 and verse 8.
Because like I said, Easter is not in the Bible. Do you celebrate Christmas? What about you?
Yeah.
Well, guess what? Christmas has nothing to do with Christ.
That's right.
Everything they teach us in the Christian church is a lie. And like I was showing my sister earlier, everything they teach us in the Christian church is meant to put us in the bottom. Meant to keep us from finding out who we are. Because guess what? According to the Bible, we are the Israelites.
That's right.
That is who we are. You are not African, my sister. You're not African American. You're not black. Black is the color of your pants.
Come on.
Right? All these titles were put on us once they stole us. Just like, for example, you buy a dog from the shelter. One of the first things you do is what? Give it a name. Right? They stole us and changed our names. Right? And that is meant to what? To keep us from finding out who we are. From ever coming together.
Bring it out.
Right? Now read that again.
Beware lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit.
Who spoiled us? Who deceived us by teaching us that Christmas and Easter is of God? The white man. Who this was my officer? Who gave us this image?
Bring it out.
The white man. Can you find this image in the Bible?
No.
How come our people don't even try to inquire?
Bring it
Right?
out.
Because it's one thing, once you're little, you follow your parents.
Yeah.
But once you grow up,
You gotta get your own information.
you have to get your own information. That's what we're here to do. Finish that out.
After the tradition of men,
And I'm going to show you what you just said in the Bible. Read.
after the rudiments of the world,
Easter is what?
after the rudiments of the world,
Easter is the traditions of men and rudiments of the world. And is it of Christ?
and not after Christ.
It has nothing to do with Christ.
That's right.
You understand that? So my brother, you were destroyed with Easter. Our forefathers were destroyed with that garbage, that lie, right? And I know you say you don't celebrate it, but you say you do it with your son.
Yeah.
You know it's wrong. Are you doing your son a favor?
Nah, bro. Nah, they probably not doing him a favor.
You're not doing him a favor. What about showing your son who he is? Right? What about doing your research, doing your own inquiry? Give me that 1 Corinthians chapter 13, start from verse 11. 1 Corinthians 13 and 11. This is what we have to do because we don't know who we are. We have to be finding out, right? Why do we keep dying the way we do? Why is it that we're so smart, we try to make any progress, we get shut down? We had Black Wall Street, right? What happened to it?
Teach.
You think it was a coincidence?
Teach.
They took it from us because we're not here to succeed. We can succeed with nothing. But that's not what we're here for, right? Read that.
1 Corinthians chapter 13 and verse 11.
Because you said we have to inquire, right? Read.
When I was a child,
When you were a child, read.
I spake as a child. I understood as a child. I thought as a child.
So because you spake, understood, and thought as a child, you had to follow your parents, right? Because you were a child, right? Now read on.
But when I became a man,
Now you grow. Then what? Keep doing the same thing?
Yeah, that's true too, man.
You see that?
Bring it out.
Read.
I put away childish things.
You put on you put away childish things. Everything that you learn growing up, you have to do your own inquiries, do your homework, see if it's true, because you can teach your parents too. You're a man now. You can learn the truth and teach your parents. That is your job as a man. And teach your people, especially by example. Right? Now go up to verse 6.
1 Corinthians 13, verse 6. Rejoiceth not in iniquity.
Read that again, read that right.
Rejoiceth not in iniquity.
Christ said what? Rejoice not in iniquity. Rejoice not in iniquity. Christmas is pagan. Easter is pagan. Birthdays is pagan. Father's Day, Mother's Day, Valentine's Day, 4th of July, New Year's Day, everything we've learned in the Christian church, they are all pagan. What did Christ say?
Rejoice not in iniquity.
They are all sin. They are all iniquity. Christ said, don't follow those things. Learn who you are. You have a rich culture. Guess what, my brother, my sister? The Bible is the black man's book. This whole time that we've been killing each other and dying and going to the church, we could have picked up this book and read for ourselves. And we would have learned at least that Christ is black. That Christ is black. His father is black. The angels are black. And his people are black. So then why are we here? Why did slavery happen to us? Because we broke his commandments.
What is a nation? Nation is men leading by example. Nation is family. Nation is community. Nation is children with role models.